Hey everybody, welcome to Cinema Trip Reviews. Well, this is our second week of our October horror review month. Alex, you're with me today. We're talking about Wes Craven's 1991 movie, People Under the Stairs. This is a movie I think I've only seen like once before. I was very surprised with watching it. It has a lot of twists and turns. The tension builds throughout the whole thing. This was an awesome movie, man. It's a good pick.
I thought it was a good movie too. I'll tell you the truth, the only reason I remember this movie, I don't think I've ever seen it as a kid,
Yeah.
but I remember growing up how my mom always used to say she loved it, and I just never watched it. And to this day, like I saw it and I was like, People Under the Stairs, why do I know that? And I was like, oh yeah, it's that movie my mom always said she loved. So that's literally why I watched it, because I was like, oh, my mom liked it. I'll give it a try.
Yeah,
And I with you. I thought it was
yeah.
good.
I mean, it's one of those movies where I've always seen like the poster because I always thought the poster was really cool. I've also seen like screenshots and like some clips of it whenever like like horror documentaries talking about like different movies. But it's been a while since I've actually sat down and watched it, and I was very pleasantly surprised with this one. I mean, this was 7 years after Nightmare on Elm Street. Wes Craven directed. 5 years before he directed Scream. He directed a couple movies in between Nightmare on Elm Street and this, like Shocker, which I haven't seen. Serpent and the Rainbow, which has Bill Pullman in it, which is actually really good. I actually like that one. I just watched that recently. But this one, I think I've seen it before. I just don't remember. But it was very good, man. I highly recommend it. But to kind of get into it, it's about a kid and his family. I guess his mom has cancer. They're living in the broke down slums. They're the last family in this big, huge apartment complex, I guess, owned by, the rich people. There's a lot of, social commentary on class, like the differences
Like
between the
classes, yeah.
classes, which, this is nothing new for like Wes Craven. He kind of fits that into some of his movies. But this was a very different movie than what Wes Craven has done. I haven't seen his full body of work, but this is different than anything that I've seen from Wes Craven.
Yeah, it had a much more, I want to say grounded, but it's not super grounded, but for Wes Craven grounded.
Yeah.
I'm used to like, I guess Scream's kind of grounded too, but I don't know. Wes Craven is Freddy Krueger to me, and that's like what I imagine when I think of Wes Craven. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, Scream that'll be a whole different review sometime, but that's kind of
subject.
like it's very meta, it's making
Yeah.
fun and going off of all the horror tropes. This is kind of like what you're saying. Based on everything else that he's kind of done, it's very, it
It's
can
pretty grounded.
happen. It can happen to a degree. It's somewhat realistic. But as we were saying, the kid, they're coming on hard times. Mom has cancer. They're getting evicted from they're the last from their place they're living in. They're the last family. The owners are trying to get them out. That way they can tear down the whole building. Maybe build up hotels or whatever they were planning to put in there. I didn't even know Ving Rhames was in this movie. He plays kind of an asshole. But I guess he's trying to help the family in a way, trying to
I
get them some
guess.
money.
Yeah.
But you know how it is. It kind of reminded me of Don't Breathe as well. Like the
I
people
thought
trying to
I got
break into
vibes.
the house to get a fortune that is rumored to be in there. They're saying there's like
Yeah.
gold coins and there's a fortune hidden within the house somewhere. And that's really what draws them to it. And then they try to break in and find the fortune, and it goes terribly, terribly wrong.
Yeah, because you're following the whole time. You're following who they introduce, and I love. By the way, I just wanted to bring this up before
It's
we move on too
full.
far. Full. I love the intro to him where he's telling the story and it's showing like the tarot cards and stuff. Tarot card, however you pronounce it. Like I was instantly hooked from right there. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And I don't think it's his real name, but they call him Fool, the little kid,
Yeah, and
which
they even
I
make a
couldn't
point
quite
to
pin his
say
age.
like not a fool as in like an idiot.
Ain't the stupid kind of fool. Only the ignorant kind, 'cause you're just starting out.
Kind of, it comes into play a lot later in the movie because the
It
movie's kind of
does.
based around the whole see, hear, and speak, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil motive,
Yeah.
where it kind of preserve the evil by not talking about it or not putting it out there, and
Yeah.
that sums up the movie pretty well, because they break in and automatically he goes up there dressed as a Boy Scout, and you haven't really seen who's in the house much, like the owners. You haven't
Yeah,
really
you saw
seen
like
them at
a
all.
glimpse of them at this point. Like they're weird, but nothing about them yet.
Yeah, exactly. And he kind of goes up. They have the kid casing the house, see what's going on. Something's going on. They have locks on all the windows on the outside for some reason, trying to keep something in. And then or out. Yeah, exactly. And they send the Ving Rhames' buddy in when he doesn't come out, and which most people, common sense, you're like, okay, something happened, we probably shouldn't go in there. But he's like, oh, he's trying to steal all the treasure. He's
greedy.
Stealing the treasure for himself.
Stealing the treasure. It's a DuckTales episode or something. Stealing the treasure from me.
But yeah, after the people leave, the guy goes in there and he disappears. So, I mean, they have to go in and find him. And that's where, it kicks off the train of events where it's just, I feel like the tension worked in this movie, even as an older movie where it's kind of hard for me nowadays. Like, the older movies aren't really that scary or tension built, but this one actually, built the tension pretty well. It's just one thing on top of another from there. Like, oh, this went wrong, which leads to this going wrong. And it was pretty well directed, and it was pretty well planned out movie. The house inside is way bigger than what it looks like on the outside.
Yeah, right. I have to agree with you that the tension, like at this point in the story, I was super, super invested in this, like just to kind of know what was going on. Because at this point, they're running into like locked doors and like all kinds of crazy shit. And like, it's a good build up to what's coming. And I don't know how much you want to give away of that, but like to what's coming, it's a good build up of what's happening right now.
Kind of get hints of it because you see like little scenes with like the daughter where you think it's the daughter of the parents that live in the house, and they're pretty abusive. They get it right off the bat, like these are not good people at all.
They're not nice.
They're not nice at all. And then it gets even worse from there somehow. But then you, like you were saying, the locked doors, there's doors with like no handles on them, bars on the windows. They have the front door electrified. Really,
they run to it because they're trying to escape and they electrocute them.
Yeah,
which is how they get the dog, which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah. It's already tension built because the people are out and you don't know when they're going to be back. They're searching the house. He goes upstairs to look for the guy because they heard something, and then the kid has to go exploring, which leads him to the basement. And that's really where it gets nuts. He goes to the basement, starts seeing blood all over the place. There's weird TVs with static, which you have to put in a scary movie all the time. Static TVs. But then you find the people, and there's like disformed people, kind of reminds you like Hills Have Eyes, which was also like a Wes Craven movie in a way. But yeah, you get them, and then that kind of spirals out of there because the people come home, and then they got to try to find a way to get out at that point.
At this point in it is when it really takes a twist, because even the title's a little misleading, and I'll kind of get into the title and the marketing of the movie later, but that you think like the villain is going to be these people upstairs, but it's really, really not. Like, this is when it really introduces the family as the villains of the movie, and it like takes such a like a Home Alone chase
really
movie.
Does.
Yeah, I mean, not like Home Alone in the sense of like him making traps and stuff, but him just constantly in this house surviving. Like, it's very claustrophobic. He's always like tight somewhere.
That's what helps with the tension as well, where they're constantly being hunted throughout the movie, and not only that, but they're in tight spaces as well. They make it out to be a big house, but they're in these tight spaces as we talk about
the entire time.
But apparently, the story was inspired from a newspaper article Wes Craven saw, where the police investigated a disturbance at a house, and they found that the parents were keeping children locked in the basement. And then he thought that would be like, let's make that into a movie. Kind of like how he saw it, kind of Nightmare on Elm Street kind of came out of the same way. He saw like a newspaper article about like someone being attacked or dying in their sleep or something like that. And they thought like, oh, maybe the dreams killed him, and, came from there. And then, like you were saying, the real villains are the homeowners, the people that actually own the building that the kid, the fool, and his family lives in. And that's Wendy and Robbie McGill also played, and they also played Nadine and Ed Hurley in Twin Peaks. So they were actually a couple in another show as well.
Awesome in this film. They eat the scenery. Every scene with these two people are awesome. Like, they were I know they're the villains, but they were one of my favorite parts of it. These people were, the dad especially, or whatever they call him. He was going wild in some of these
Nuts.
scenes.
And that's like they're both outrageously crazy, but they're both like two different kinds of crazy.
Yeah, she's more scary. Like the dad, I'd be losing it.
Oh
like,
yeah,
I know what you're gonna
nuts.
say.
Like, he's
I'm gonna let
completely
you say
nuts.
the intro to him hunting them. I know you said about it. I'll let you say it.
You know, they run upstairs and the dad comes out in a gimp suit.
Oh, just bust out the door, waving his
Bust out the
shotgun,
door.
full gimp suit.
And
Hilarious.
there's no explanation, no nothing to any of this. I mean,
Why would waste the time?
They're just like, it'd be funny, or like, it'd be scary. Let's just put him in a gimp suit. Like, I think this was before like Pulp Fiction too. So I mean, like maybe this is where like Quentin Tarantino got the idea from the gimp suit from. But that was out of left field. They never explain it. There's really no like sexual motive behind it either. I mean, there's maybe a hint of it later, like a tiny thing, but there's really no thing of it at all. Like there's no explanation. It's just
he doesn't
crazy.
find like a gimp room or anything. Like the house all seems pretty normal.
Like,
I mean, other than
dungeon
people
or anything.
Yeah. Like
there is a dungeon, but not that kind of dungeon.
Not that kind of dungeon.
But yeah, and then of course, unfortunately, they takes out Ving Rhames. They kill him dead. Which, I mean, you already kind of knew that the other guy was dead, but now like they're killing people. They're straight up killing people. These people don't care. They're crazy. They're celebrating. Got him! And that's where it kind of goes from there, because they know someone else is in the house. So it's just like them, the family, the two people hunting this kid fool all over this house. He's crawling through the walls.
The walls in the movie have like a pretty good chunk of space. Like there's plenty of room
more
to move
so than
around.
You would expect.
Way more so than you expect. We talked about on another thing, guys, go watch the Evil Dead review, that scene where they kind of chase through the walls. Even more room than that, like there was tons of room. Like they were standing like shoulder to shoulder in some of these scenes.
It was like a dog house in that wall. Like they had like a dog bowl with like there's a rib cage in there.
Like I don't know who built this house, but it was definitely intended for people to be in these walls.
Oh yeah, because I mean, as you see it a couple times, like they have a panel in the wall with all the switches for different doors and rooms, and like to throw a message on or whatever. Like they have it all set up. I don't know who they paid to design this house, or if they did it themselves, because I don't think they're that
them
smart.
In the basement. Yeah, like who would they design? Be like, hey, I'm gonna put a bunch of. He's like, what are you gonna keep down here? Definitely not people. Like,
no, don't worry about it. Not
I don't know. The walls are cool though, but the kid escapes into the walls at this point, and just the mom and them are chasing. We have been introduced to the daughter at this point, and the daughter seems just quiet, like she just goes along with the flow.
I mean, that's the next scene. Whenever he escapes, he like runs into the daughter in the bathroom. And then she kind of explains everything to him. And then she mentions Roach, which is the one that got away, and the one that's
in the wall.
In the walls making all the noises, and that's the one that Daddy's trying to find. He's the one that's pissed off because he's in the walls, just making racket all the time.
Yeah. He pissed me off too. Like, shut up!
Shut up! He's just blasting holes in walls. And then Daddy busts through the door in his gimp suit. And he's got
Roach pulls him up. Yeah, Roach pulls him up, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that might have been later, but I think he pulls him up through the cabinet.
Yeah,
and then the dude sends the dog up through into the walls after him.
And they also established at this point that Roach and the girl have some kind of bond. Like she's helping him, she's feeding him, she's doing shit like that.
Yeah, that's how she got in trouble earlier in the movies, because she was missing like a fork, and like she went over and he slid it out from the vent to her. But like that's one of the parts, like when that happens, you're like, oh, that what makes you think, oh, these people are the bad guys in the wall, like something like that. And the parents are just terrible parents on top of that. But no, it's completely the other way around,
because she explains that all the people in the basement now are perfect sons they wanted, but that's like Wyatt said, it's a really theme on see no evil, speak no evil, hear no evil. So they were all said stuff and they cut their tongues out because they said stuff that they shouldn't,
or they heard too much, so they cut their ears off. But that's really like what the rest of the movie is like Roach helping Fool kind of get his way out of here, because it's pretty much you can't get out. All the windows are like
barred
fiberglass or plastic. You can't kick them out. They're not breakable. Which, you know, and then he tries to help the girl out, and that leads them to the attic, where, you know, they gotta jump out, and she refuses to jump out. and he lands into that pond that he saw earlier whenever he was kind of casing the place.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's where, like, you would think, okay,
Be done.
he gets out, no need to ever come back. You reporting him to the cops, donezo. Well, he reports him to the cops come, they don't find anything. You're like, well, what's going on here? But you think they would see, like, the bullet holes around the house,
Throughout the house.
or
Now
something.
they were pretty crafty, because even like the door to the basement, they had like a bookshelf
like,
over
where
it
it
and
looks
stuff.
like it's a
Yeah.
like a supply
So
cabinet, a closet or something.
maybe they just put more wallpaper up, you know? The cops would go poking at stuff, you know? Like if you just threw wallpaper over something or hung a picture there,
Yeah.
it'd be fine.
Roach gave him a coin, one of the coins. And he's like, oh, okay, this is actually real. So when he takes it home, I think it's like his grandpa praises it, and they say that, like, he could pay for the surgery, pay for like a year's worth, like he said, pay rent for till 2000. Kind of goes into the backstory about, like, even when he was younger, no one went near that house because that family was nothing but trouble, and they were rumored about, like, inbreeding
and incest, which is where this is where you kind of discover their brother and sister.
Exactly.
The two people,
their brother and sister, that they've been stealing people's children. They're not even their own children. They've been stealing people's children for the perfect child, and then they just kind of discard them. They do something, gotta get rid of them, cut their tongues off, throw them in the basement. And I mean, I don't know why this kid would go back, like, just by himself, man.
And how did he get back, dude? Like, I know he's like in the cabinets, but would he walk in with the cops? Like,
well, yeah, he called, like, the cops to come over and investigate for, like, domestic violence or child abuse.
But like, what cop would let them in? Well, what cop would let the kid in with them? You know, like, oh yeah, this is the kid that reported you.
I just think he snuck in while they were coming in and out, because even, like, the mom, not the mom, but like the woman, she even says, like, I didn't have enough time to, like, check the doors. I was too busy, like, helping like them out, and giving them food and drinks and stuff. So I'm guessing that's where he snuck in. He just kind of hid in the cabinet. We're like, you ballsy, just going in there alone, man. You barely got out. You know there's no way out. Come on now. Just to go back for this girl and, like, try to stop these people. And then that leads to, like, you find out they chained her in the attic up to the chimney. And I mean, the cops didn't even, like, they suspected because they saw the kid's room, and they're like, oh, our child, like, died or passed away or whatever.
Yeah. You
think the people, like the cops, would do some more investigation into it, like find out who they are, if they had children. Actually, come on now.
He didn't have time for all that. You know, paperwork.
Like,
it takes weeks.
You're nice enough. You gave us food and stuff. You helped us out in our investigation. But then, like, you know, the kid, he climbs up through the chimney somehow. I know I wouldn't be able to climb up through a chimney. I don't know how this kid did, but, like, he helps break her out, but they can't go out the same way because
pond. He said he put glass and broken nails and stuff in there.
They drained it and put a bunch of stuff in there.
Yeah, which okay.
All right. While he's, like, helping her break out, that's when we get the weird scene with the dad coming in the gimp suit. And it was, like, a weird scene because he wants to kill her. He thought, like, right away, like, as soon as they try to break her out, he's like, she's a whore. He did something with her. Like, we need to kill her. And then, like, he thinks she's a whore now. And I don't know. I mean, it was a weird scene.
This is the first time the movie becomes kind of overtly sexual. And nothing too bad, but, like, there was, like we said, the gimp kind of hints at it. You definitely know the parents are sleeping together, but this is the first time even the mom and him's relationship even turns a little sexual at this point.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it was a weird scene though. He, like, grabs at his crotch with her and she, like, forces him out of the attic.
Yeah. It was very weird. I was like, oh, that's odd.
It was weird. It never crossed the line. And Wes Craven, I mean, Last House on the Left, fucking
he's no stranger to uncomfortable situations. Yeah, exactly.
He's done worse.
Exactly.
It never goes that far.
He breaks her out, and they have to climb down through the chimney again, which would be pretty hard, especially with the dude, like, shooting up through the chimney. But before that, you know, you kind of had the falling out between the brother and the sister, I guess we can call them. You know, he wants to kill her. They come to a disagreement, and then he smacks her, throws her on the bed. Like, no, I can take you out if I have to. He's holding a gun, starts shooting up through the chimney, and you get the Home Alone scene. He drops the brick down, through the chimney and hits him right in the head. Knocks his ass out for a minute.
We kind of skipped over something before we gets into the chimney, though. And I just want to say, when he sneaks into the house, he doesn't go straight for the girl. He picks up like a chimney poker thing, like that metal thing.
Yeah.
And he goes to kill the parents. Like, and that was even kind of a dark scene because he's a kid. He's a kid in this movie. He's not like 18, 17. He's what, maybe 13?
Because that actually,
maybe.
that leads up. I totally blanked on that because like that was actually a part of the movie where I kind of got chills for a second. Because he's like, he hears them going to bed and they're saying like their prayer before they go to sleep, and he's creeping up and it's silent, and he turns the corner and it's just a tape playing, and I was like, I got chills. It gave me chills thinking about it. I was like, oh shit, and like dude busts out in the gimp suit. It attacks him.
Second time.
Planned it. Like he got changed and was waiting. But yeah, he busts that metal poker over this dude, and you could tell it's like splintered. It's wood.
It's like a piece of wood. You can tell. You can tell the actors even like,
like, oh shit.
I don't think this should have broke.
But yeah, and that's.
But
like,
anyways,
he runs out, climbs up the chimney, helps her escape. They drop the brick on his head, and they climb down, and they're trying to get out. Well, he sends her out. He says, "Keep going. I'm trying to take their ass out." So no, she goes to get out, and she gets confronted by the mom.
When does the sister ring the doorbell? Because that's coming soon, right?
Yeah, that happens.
Okay.
Like, and
okay, that's coming.
Like the kids got into the confrontation as well, because like he ends up getting captured.
This is also another scene where you're leading up to where she gets the daughter. The mom gets the daughter, and she puts her in that like boiling hot bath water. That made me uncomfortable.
Well, that was earlier too, because she makes her clean the blood off the floor. Yeah,
that might be right after.
Yeah,
we might be missing.
She makes her clean the blood, and as she's like, I think this was an accident. They kept it in the movie. Whenever like she pulls the girl down the stairs, she like takes 2 steps and she slips on the blood and busts her ass. I think that was an accident, and they just left it in the movie. But then maybe. Like they make her like clean the blood off the floor, and then they get pissed because she has blood on her dress that they made her wear. But
it was an uncomfortable scene.
It was, because she makes her get in that boiling ass water.
Get in, huh?
And it looks hot.
Yeah.
I don't know how they back then made that effect that it was not hot, but like that water looked hot, dude.
But yeah, I mean, that's like the kid goes down to like set the people in the basement free.
The dad captures him, right, and takes him down.
The dad captures him, and that's when he has him at gunpoint. Like, and that's whenever they get the knock on the door, and that's like full sister Ruby and like the grandfather, and like they have the townspeople there, like the people that live in the slums. They got them there as well. Rallying, which. The rally kind of disappears for a minute. It's just like the sister at one point, whenever like the mom goes after the daughter again, and like she slams the door.
Yeah.
But I mean, at that point, you like the kid ended up getting away.
The people like befriend him like downstairs.
Well, yeah, he gets thrown in because the guy thinks he's gonna eat, like they're gonna eat him or whatever.
And he shows him like the room full of money. Yeah. Like it's like a mountain of dollars.
Because he helped them.
Yeah, because he helps them.
Because he helped them. He shows, like they had like no order to it. They had money and
again
coins,
like DuckTales,
just like DuckTales,
like a Scrooge McDuck thing.
That dude, crazy dude's just going in there in his gimp suit, just diving around, swimming in his gold. And he even says, "I've come in here,
count it, let it slip through my fingers,
let the coin slip through my fingers."
Which is it's a weird place to hide it. Like, I understand nobody else would go through all these people, but how would he get through all these people all the time? Like, nobody ever attacked him. Like, when he was
seems like they're just scared of him. So, I mean, my guess is they wouldn't go after him.
This seems like a dumb place to hold.
This smart-ass kid, he goes in there and he rigs the dynamite to explode.
Oh, yeah, there's dynamite.
Has, well, yeah, I mean,
we forgot to say that part.
Whenever he comes back the second time, the house is even more booby trapped. They have dynamite on like the different doorways and like grates and stuff. But they have like the extra dynamite in the basement, and then like the kid rigs it up, and he gets the guy to run down in there, and he's like, "I'll do it. I'll blow this shit up," and he does it.
Kiss your ass goodbye, boy.
I thought the dude was gonna blow up, but it just blows the dude out of the room into the
Yeah.
well with all like the bodies.
Which was weird also. Like I get he dies. The mom gets struck by the daughter by this point too, right? Before
Yeah.
the house blows up.
Yeah,
I think the daughter kills the
daughter
mom.
stabs her, yeah.
Yeah.
And then like the people, like the other like people in the basement come and start, because she comes back and
Oh
tries to
yeah,
kill her.
yeah. Which is a cool scene also. We're kind of scattered here.
Oh,
This
yeah.
movie, like, yeah, but they come up through like the floorboards and shit, and they come out the walls, which
Yeah, they're
why
coming
didn't
out
they
of
do
the cupboards
yeah,
somehow.
like where how did they get there? I guess they went
they
into the
climbed up in
walls.
there, and then they're like, you
Yeah.
know, we're just gonna come back out and surprise her.
Ha!
But yeah, you know, they come out and start attacking her whenever she goes after the girl. Dad, he doesn't come back. He just gets
Dad don't come
blown out of that room into the well, and it rains money down. Out
And all the
there's
people,
that much
like-
money in the basement. It goes up through the chimney, and it starts raining down among all the rally folk outside of the house, and they start celebrating. And I was like, and then the people in the basement just start coming out,
and
and
like
the people
walking
are
away.
like, "What's wrong with these guys?"
They just accept them real quick.
Nobody
Like,
cares. They're
says,
more worried about
nobody
the
says
money
nothing. Yeah.
that's falling down.
I felt like it was about to be a thriller video, like real quick, like because they look like zombies. The dudes are in the basement, so I was like, "What is going on?"
Yeah, so I mean, there's no police justice in this. The parents just end up getting killed.
Good.
No setup for a sequel really at all. Just
Mm-mm.
the people under the stairs get to kind of come out and live the rest of their lives somehow. I don't know
And
how, but
The kid and the daughter are good too. Fool and the daughter walk out too.
yeah, I mean they're set up for life now. They got a ton of money,
Yeah.
tons of those coins that are worth a ton of value. 'Cause one was worth enough to
Yeah.
get them to live for 10 years comfortably. So who knows? But yeah, I mean that's the short and abridged version of People Under the Stairs. I really liked it, man. I thought it was a great movie. The tension in it was great. That one scene, man, it definitely surprised me with the tape playing of them like doing the prayer. But apparently Wes Craven wanted to remake this movie. Like, this movie was made in 1991. He wanted to remake it in the early 2000s.
Oh, they should have let him.
He thought it could be better with more money, and he thought he could get bigger budget behind it. He thought it could even be even better. And apparently that didn't pan out. But apparently Jordan Peele is actually attached to remake it. So
I didn't know that.
yeah, so
That'd be cool.
apparently he's been attached to it for a little while now. You know, he has had some movies he wanted to put out, like Candyman and stuff. So I mean, I'm looking forward to that one, because I mean, it seems like he's been having a run of decent movies here lately, and I think with this source material, it kind of fits around what he does, you know,
What he likes, yeah.
what he likes,
What he's good at.
Exactly. So I think he can do this story justice.
I know you said you like the movie poster. I think it's kind of generic, and I think it kind of hurt it. I think it could be the Bergs movie poster and still be almost the same with the skull over it.
Yeah.
And I also think the title's kind of
misleading.
Well, not misleading. I just think it's boring. Like, it's not something I would want to go see if it was new. And that's just my two things. I think, and I'm not sure. I wasn't alive back then, but I think those are two things that kind of hurt it in the long run, where it's not as famous as I think it should be.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. And I feel like it'd be really. Obviously, we weren't even born yet when this came out, but I didn't see the marketing for this at all, so I don't know. I feel like it'd be really hard to market this movie, because the title makes, like what you're saying, it makes you think that the people under the stairs are the threat, like they're the enemy of the movie,
bad guy,
but you know, it's the owners. So I mean, it's hard to market that movie without giving a lot of stuff away, you know, which might have actually hurt it in the long run. Maybe that's why Wes Craven wanted to remake it, you know, get it out there more. What's your final thoughts on the movie?
I think this is the definition of a cult classic. I think this movie is fun. It's a unique story. It's not like a repeat. It's like, I can't think of another movie that's quite like this movie, you know. Like, this is a one of a kind film that I've seen. I like Wyatt said, we were both pleasantly surprised. I knew my mom liked it. I know it's only sitting at like a 6.4 on IMDb right now. I think it deserves more, man. I really do. I thought the plot was good. The acting was good. I mean, it was over the top a lot of it, but that's what you want. You know, that's what they were going for. But other than that, I thought the characters were great. I thought the kid staying the hero all the way till the end was awesome.
Yeah.
Like an adult didn't come save him; he did it himself. Like, and again, he's a younger kid in this movie. It's not like, and they do some mean shit to these kids too, which modern horror movies are afraid to do mean shit to kids.
Yeah. Would you
But
give it like out of 10, man?
for a cult classic movie, it's not a modern masterpiece or anything.
Yeah.
I would give it like I'd probably give it like an 8.1, man. I thought it was a good movie. I
Okay.
thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would definitely give it an 8 as well. It's definitely a cult classic. I would definitely. I mean, I've seen a decent amount of Wes Craven's work, but I would rank this pretty high up. It's definitely
Yeah,
not as good as Nightmare on Elm Street. That's probably my favorite Wes Craven movie.
sure.
But I would say it's like Nightmare, Scream, and then maybe
It's
possibly
better
this
than
for me.
Hills. It's better than Hills for
It's
me.
definitely better than Hills for me.
And I
It's
like Hills. I think that's also a good movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's better than like Last House on the Left and what
Yep.
was the other one that I mentioned? Oh, Serpent and the Rainbow. I think it was better than that. I
Never
would say
saw
this
that,
is
but
probably like his third best.
I would agree. And I just again for the complete originality of it,
Oh yeah.
like it's got to be up there. Like I literally and hopefully people watching this can educate me on movies like this. I'd like to see more movies that kind of follow this pattern, but I can't think of any.
For
This is
sure.
a good move.
Yeah,
Good movie.
the story was good. The acting in it was great, and like you were saying, some of it was over the top, but it was the over the top stuff was from the right characters, the crazy people, and that's what you want out of these crazy
Exactly.
people is over the top because that's what made them. I mean, the parts that like I thought were hilarious was like the mom, just chewing the scenery, acting nuts, like over just the smallest things.
Just over crazy shit, man.
And then like the dad just running around screaming in the gimp suit. But yeah, I mean the acting was great. The directing in it was great too. Like the different like camera angles and the way that he directed it and the different shots that he had set up was awesome. I mean, this is an underrated classic, underrated cult classic by Wes Craven. There are some other ones, but they weren't really directed. I know there's a lot of movies produced by Wes Craven in that time that are cult classics like Wishmaster. I really like Wishmaster.
I like Wishmaster.
But this movie I highly recommend, man. And this was a great pick because I was pleasantly surprised.
It was a good film. I highly suggest it.
Yeah, highly suggest it. And make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to check out all of our other reviews next week. We are doing the Halloween Kills review as of next week because next week it'll come out. So I'm pretty sure most of us are seeing it that opening weekend. So we will definitely have the Halloween Kills review out next week, next Wednesday, for the third week. And I'm going to keep everything else a surprise for the rest of the month. But until next time, like and subscribe. Make sure to check out all of our other content across the channel. And we'll see everybody next week.